This is breaking news.
Welcome to a CBS News New York special report. I'm Jessica Moore, live in the newsroom. Tensions at Columbia University reaching a fever pitch today. Police started making arrests earlier this afternoon on a makeshift tent city that pro-Palestinian demonstrators had set up on Columbia's quad. We're told dozens of people, including some students, have been arrested so far. They were taken away on NYPD buses. Pro-Palestinian and pro-Israeli demonstrators faced off at the school on Wednesday after Columbia's president was grilled over the school's handling of anti-Semitism on campus. We reached out to Columbia for comment. A spokesperson declined an interview, but did say, quote, students who are participating in the unauthorized encampment are suspended. We are continuing to identify them and will be sending out formal notifications. CBS 2's Doug Williams has been following this story all day for us. He joins us live from the campus with the latest. Doug, how would you describe the scene now? I know it's been ever evolving throughout the afternoon.
Yeah, Jessica, that's exactly it. From an hour to an hour right now, it is changing. And as of right now, the protest behind me, which I'm sure you can hear, is peaceful, but it is separated from regular traffic on sidewalks. There are students up on the second level of a campus building here at Columbia, and I would say there's around 100 people on the sidewalk now. They are on both flanks, surrounded by riot police who are just standing and waiting for anything to escalate. As of right now, it does not appear like they're being sprung into action. But again, things have changed very quickly throughout the morning. Police have been here in tens and at times in hundreds. Mostly riot police. However, there are regular uniform cops stationed block to block, and in anticipation of things escalating. And the reason why, Jessica, it makes so much sense what you just said, where it's been sort of changing throughout the morning, is when we first arrived here around 10 a.m. this morning, it was pretty quiet. Maybe 10 protesters, and I wouldn't even say they were protesting. It was a very calm demonstration. And then we learned about what was happening on campus, which sort of changed the mood and the tenor of everything.
Yesterday, people who were arrested yesterday, today were charged with resisting arrest. Have the protests outside been mostly peaceful? Were you able to witness any of the NYPD arrests? I know they were taken away with the zip ties. Did you see any kind of violence at all or any kind of resisting?
Did not see any violence at all. The arrests this morning were made when the group was small. The group that I had mentioned earlier, we're talking maybe dozens of people, if that, nowhere near hundreds, and nowhere near the crowds that we're seeing now. And it's worth mentioning that so far, from what I've seen, it's been all pro-Palestinian demonstrators and protesters. We have not seen two sides to it. We've not seen any arguing or infighting amongst the protesters. But it does seem that it's been peaceful. The arrests happen inside the campus of Columbia University. And again, we can't go inside, so we're outside. We started to see riot gear police walk down from where we are, which is 116th and Broadway, down to 114th and Broadway. I followed them down there. It turned out that they had quickly thereafter shut down that street, closed it off completely, and that's when we saw those 7 correctional buses filter in, and that street closed off to regular traffic. The buses filtered in, and the riot gear police made their way inside. We saw them exchanging zip ties. We knew that arrests were coming, but we can't see from out here. Even if you go right up to the campus gates, you can't really make out what was happening. So we've seen citizen video and video from a variety of sources come in on social media of what was happening, which was the tents were still there. Students have been told they had to vacate those tents as of 9 o'clock last night. And the president of Columbia, who's obviously her deposition, her being questioned on Capitol Hill yesterday, was sort of what started all these protests. It was the president who reached out to NYPD officials saying, I need your help.
Right.
She invited and asked them to come in and try and get the students out of the tents because they had not listened to the risk of suspension, which they were under.
Yeah, and she even said it's with deep regret that we had to call in the NYPD. Yesterday, of course, on Capitol Hill, lawmakers, mostly Republican lawmakers, but also some Democratic lawmakers were saying, you say you're against anti-Semitism, your actions don't match up. Today, she's obviously showing that she's taking a tangible stand to make sure that these protesters do not become disruptive. Is there any sense of what people might expect in the coming hours? We saw, even as you just mentioned, things have been evolving today. Things evolved yesterday, starting with the tent city before she started testifying, Dr. Shafiq, and then as the day went on, it grew and grew and grew. Are you hearing rumblings or murmurings from people in the crowd there that this is going to continue as the evening progresses?
The one thing we heard from a demonstrator was she was telling us that we should expect thousands later today. Again, that's just one person involved in what's been going on behind me. And I will say that what we sort of started to expect was that whatever was going on within the campus walls was going to make its way outside. And we watched that process happen, which was when the arrests started happening and we saw students and we got video of the students, as by the way, we are now basically surrounded by police and riot gear who are making their way east. Again, they've been walking around by the dozen and tending to whatever they feel they need to tend to. But back to your question in terms of what to expect, again, it's an hour-by-hour situation and process at the moment. And these protests started after the arrests. We started to see what we believed to be students that were leaving campus to come outside to protest the arrest of their fellow students. And that's when the protest was at its largest, was about 5 to 10 minutes before the buses actually backed up back here onto Broadway instead of going straight, because if the buses had pulled out straight, they had maybe 1,000 people in front of them. So the buses backed out, and that's when the crowd dispersed. Now, I still think the masses are here around the Columbia University campus, but they're definitely more spread out. The main protest or demonstration is right behind us, of course, blocked right now by a city bus, but that's where the majority of the protesters are at this hour as police continue to really canvass the entire area, Jessica.
Well, and you mentioned the gate behind you. You know as well as I do, Doug, that gate to Columbia is usually open. People can freely walk in and out. But in the past couple of days, that gate has been closed. President Shafiq has been saying they're trying to make sure only Columbia students are allowed on campus because of demonstrations like this. Is the gate still closed behind you as we speak now?
Yes, it is still closed, and it's been guarded by police pretty much all morning. And we've witnessed, by the way, many students very frustrated with an inability to get to their dorm room, to get to class. And it just goes to show you that any student body, the entire Columbia student body is going to be potentially painted in local and national news media today as a hotbed of really protest and disagreement. But in this case, we heard students who were just trying to go eat lunch, go study, go to their dorm room. So the entire area has really been blocked off. It's hard to walk anywhere, and it's not just for students. We had one approach us and say, can I get in with an ID, as students were being walked into police correctional buses, not sure if they were going to be able to walk into that to just go to their dorm room. So again, yes, it's not just those gates that are blocked off by police. It's basically all around the campus right now. And if you've seen the video circulating online of what it's like inside, or what it was like inside with those tents as the arrests were being made, and as the president of the university, President Shafiq, came out and said, I need the NYPD's help, regretfully that she needed their help. That's what the scene was like. It was tense inside. We just weren't able to make our way in because, as you said, it's very much closed off right now.
Doug Williams, thank you so much for your reporting. I know you'll have a live report coming up for us on the 5 o'clock newscast. Thank you again. Just to give you a quick update before we wrap here, NYPD sources tell us they have multiple people in custody. They say as of right now, no one has officially been charged as part of this protest, but multiple people are in custody. We heard Doug telling us dozens of people taken away on those NYPD buses. This has been a CBS 2 special report. I'm Jessica Moore. We will continue streaming on CBS News New York, and be sure to look for more updates on this story starting on CBS 2 News at 5 o'clock.
This has been breaking news.